Alright, I have to slate this. I've never done that before. Hopefully that worked. Here we go, Honda Grom time once more. Front to back, full mods, plus total cost. So let's get into it. This is the 2015 Honda Grom once again. Pretty self-explanatory if you've seen the other video. This time we're going to go 100% in-depth mods list front to back. So let's just get right into it. So we'll start with the front here. Nothing too fancy. Some things you can see straight away. EBC wave rotors and EBC pads in the brake calipers. We have TST Industries axle sliders, both front and back. And for the brakes, you can see here we have stainless steel lines from Core Moto. Nothing too fancy on these ones. I didn't go as crazy as I did with the Benelli. These ones are more on the conservative side, just kind of a smoke translucent color with some gold banjo bolts. Other things, the axle is new, as I mentioned in the last video, because this was pushed over by a huge truck. This part right here took the brunt of it. Other things, the fender. Couple fender things here actually. So you'll notice that I have basically like the back half of it, and basically what I did was, this is the OEM fender. I didn't really like it, and so for the longest time I ran it just completely 100% without a fender, and it was okay, but I wanted to have some kind of protection there while not really putting on the whole front fender. I didn't really like the style of the OEM front fender, and so I decided to cut this because I saw there was like an ADV style one that someone posted with this piece and then another kind of dirt bike like fender here that attached to the headlight. I didn't like that. That looked horrible, but the back half was a nice idea. And I had this laying around, so I figured why not just hack it up. I'm not using it anyway. So it has the fork guards here from the Honda Monkey. Someone mentioned that they're actually a direct replacement or a direct fit, because I guess the Monkey uses the same forks as the Grom. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. And so just pick these up. They're a couple bucks each, and that way I can kind of protect these just a little bit without having the big old front fender here. Going up to the headlight, there's nothing really that special. I did for a while tried to have an LED headlight conversion, whatever Cycle Gear sells. I forget what brand they use, but that's the one that they had. And so I put that in, and after probably even a couple weeks, it burned out. And I got a direct replacement, kind of under warranty, and then the second one blew out, and after that I just kind of gave up. Flush mounts on the sides, obviously. We don't have the big ol' honkin' blinkers here that look like reindeer ears or whatever they are. That was probably one of the first things that I ever did, and still the same ones that I've had on it, so these have been on there for almost 5 years. If we move up to the top here, we can see we got the new controls. These are actually the second pair of controls that I've gotten with this. So as with the Benelli and all the other bikes, these are Pro Taper Contours CR High Bend fat bars. So because these aren't fat bars stock, they're 7/8 stock, I have to get the Pro Taper big 1/8 inch handlebar clamps. So those have been replaced. We have grips and we have levers. I'm not sure which ones these are. These are MZS. You know, just cheapish eBay ones. I think they were like 30 bucks or something like that. And then to round it off, we have the bar end mirrors, which I'm kind of on the fence on if I like these or not. I might keep them, I might not. I might actually go back to some that stick out here. Only reason is because it just makes it that much wider, and when I'm lane splitting, that's one of the things I need to consider, and I would hate to clip someone's car door or their mirror with my mirror. So as we kind of move back here, we'll kind of go over bodywork, I think. So these are OEM shrouds. The bike that I got originally was red, as you can tell from the boomerang and the fender and some of the other pieces, but I changed the color of this over the years. It was originally red for a while, and then I actually tried plasti dipping it, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, and I did a seafoam green over the red, and it looked really nice. I have to say I liked that color, but Plasti Dip, it didn't really hold up very well, especially these fenders, because your knees are constantly rubbing on this. So the corners here, and especially where the bolt fits, were getting super worn out and didn't really hold up very long. I decided to stick to an OEM color, and I wanted to keep some of the red in it, so I figured white's a good base. So I got just, you know, a white piece here, and I replaced these white because I thought they were going to be the full white, like the painted white, but it's just the decal on the side, which was a little annoying, but you know, whatever. Underneath here, you can see I took out the cutout here. I kind of like the fact that you can see through it, which is kind of fun. In here is my horn, my air horn, which we're out in the open. We can give it a... Let's see, also in this area, if we go to the other side, we have a carbon fiber Drow Sports intake with a KNN filter on top. Inside this is a 3D printed tube, more or less, that kind of directs the air into it. Underneath that, just to keep everything from flopping around, because since the airbox is gone, there's nothing for this to connect to. There's a rod that goes across. A few of the manufacturers sell those. They're pretty common, especially when you do an intake. I guess from there we can kind of go back down to the engine. Now there's not much to really be said about it. Obviously you can see here I have the Katako clutch cover, which removes the oil spinner. It was a great modification. I'm really happy that I did that. So it's got this for the external or the oil filter rather than an oil spinner. Behind that, I've replaced the clutch, and also on the clutch there's stiffer springs, so I have the 60% stiffer springs plus the upgraded clutch plate. I think I got that from Man in the Box. Behind here also is a high flow oil pump from Koso. That's pretty much it on this end. Let's see, from this side, engine wise, we haven't really done much. Up here we had new cam chain internals. They're just OEM replacement though, so nothing special there. Up here I do have a cam from TB Parts. I also did the DHM Stage 1. It was the combination of a cam and stock ECU reflash. I think that's just about it with the engine. The engine is basically stock. It's 100% OEM as far as the bore, the piston, and the crank go. Let's see, let's move back this way. We've gone through a few chain and sprocket sets over the years. Currently I have a 428 conversion kit, so this is a little bigger, which is great. I highly recommend that on these bikes, because the 420 chains, even if you go with a quality product, not just an OEM replacement, they stretch out so much. I felt like I was tightening up my chain every other week. I don't remember the brand name of this chain. It was that one, it's the same one that I got for the Benelli. It's some Amazon thing, but it's got an X-ring in it, so it holds up really nicely. As far as the sprockets go, I believe these are from Driven Racing. As far as gearing goes, the back is stock, which I don't remember off the top of my head, and the front is a 14 rather than a 15. 15 is stock, I know that, so I went one tooth down in the front. Suspension, which I missed over there, but we'll talk about them both. So in the rear I have a YSS Stage 2 with the external reservoir here. Really nice, holds up very nicely compared to the stock one. The stock one is so squishy and just doesn't hold up at all, and that can easily be said for the front forks too. Obviously these ones from the factory are like pogo sticks. They're horrible. So I have a Öhlins kit inside here, so it's got Öhlins spring and damping, all that. So if we move back here again with the axle sliders from TST Industries, here I have a aftermarket chain guide. It's from ND Customs. It's a CNC plate, and so it's much more precise. It's got the bolt in there, and much cleaner looking as well. Tires, obviously, these are not stock. After 5 years and almost 20,000 miles, you would not expect these to be stock. These are Michelin Power Pure SCs. I have a integrated tail light from Steady Garage. This one also has the flashing relay, so when you hit the brakes, it flashes about 3 or 4 times and then lights up, which I really like. Underneath that is a simple Man in the Box high plate. What else? Oh, we can go up top with the Saddleman seat, obviously. Let's actually go inside here. Nothing too crazy in here. We have a 12 O'Clock Labs Speedo healer. Here is the relay for the air horn. The battery is not stock. It's a Shorai lithium-ion battery. It's actually not even the right battery for the Grom, if I'm completely honest, because you can kind of see in the section here, it's thinner than the stock battery, and it's taller actually, so the plate that normally goes across the battery to hold it in place is not there. It's tight, but it works, so you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What else? Oh, obviously the stock exhaust is gone. This is a MIV, I think it's an M2 or an A2, something 2. Man in the Box used to provide them, and that's where I got this from, but it's been a long time, and I actually just kind of checked recently, and I don't think you can purchase these from anywhere but MIV directly, and they're based in Italy, I think. The header is 100% stock. It's a little worn out, and pretty much everything else is stock on this thing, I think. The rear sets are stock. Oh, I forgot about the shift lever, obviously. That is not stock. Also under that, which I also forgot, is the hard racing shift support bracket. Say that 5 times fast. There's a bunch of other small stuff that I'm probably missing, but those are the highlights. I guess now we can kind of talk cost. There's so many parts, and it's been so many years that I actually keep a spreadsheet. In addition to that, when I talk total cost, I'm also talking not just parts, but I'm talking gas, insurance, registration, the whole thing. Every dollar that's associated with putting this on the road, riding it. I have a sum total with all the years, the calendar years. The first year, which is actually half year because it was July of 2016, I spent $1,254.71 just in that 5-6 month period. That's crazy. 2017, that dropped down dramatically, probably because I got a lot of the things that I wanted out of the way in that first year, so it's $444.53. Next year went back up a little bit, $990. Then it dropped down a lot in 2019, $286. And then 2020 came along, and I think I am a prime example of all the cases that you see where, you know, you're working from home, there's nothing to do, there's no spending at movies, entertainment, restaurants, things like that, so I've just poured it into my bike, obviously, and you can tell because my 2020 bill was $1,574.55. And then in 2021, which again, we're halfway through, another $942. Now, the $942 here does include a lot of things that aren't on this bike yet. I did pay for all the OEM replacement of the top end stuff already. In addition to that, because since I have that off, a few things I wanted to replace because they're kind of getting worn and tired, and you can kind of see here with the tiredness of that. I got a Man in the Box header, so that's going to be replaced. And then I also have a few electrical components, like I have a flywheel, a lightened flywheel, and the 4th support bracket, the 4th bearing on the other side. Those are both on their way from Japan, so those are included in this cost, but obviously not on the bike yet. Let's go to gas. California is expensive, no doubt about that, so your bill is probably going to be a lot cheaper. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, since when you go to fill up this bike, it's basically just 1 gallon, a little over 1 gallon, so you're basically paying whatever you see on the marquee on the board there. So total cost over the 5 years, $638.02. $638 for 5 years and almost 20,000 miles worth of riding. That's how much I pay for in gas. That's pretty crazy. Insurance. You have to have insurance here, so can't get around it. I think there's some states that actually don't require it, which is a little weird to me. Anyway, so this cost, it's a little hard to kind of parse out because I have a multiple policy with not only my other bikes, but also my car. But I kind of take that into account, so whenever I make any changes, whatever that difference is, I make sure to pull that out. But on average, it's about $200 a year. So that's like, what, $15, $16 a month, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Registration. Now, this is the part where those of you that aren't in California are going to just, like, question everything because it's California. So naturally, it's going to cost you something. And so this is no different. The average price of registration to put it on the road legally, to get the The required sticker every year is about $130. It slowly goes up, and so over the last few years it's gone 132, 133, 136, 137, so we're probably going to see close to, if not 140 next year. Compared to the parts list, it's kind of a drop in the bucket, so I can't complain too much. I also want to mention, because I don't think I mentioned this in the last video, how much did I pay for this up front? Including all title, tax, and fees. Out the door price, $3,300. So with that in mind, we're going to break this out a little bit. So the bike, $3,300. Parts, ooh, this is where it starts to pain me. $5,493.14. Gas, $638.02. Insurance, over 5 years, $1,193.71, and registration every year, $645.38. That brings the total to, drumroll, $11,270.26. So this bike is more than $11,000. It's pretty crazy how much money you can dump into these things over the years. But I mean, in my defense, that's over 5 years. And one of the other things that I kind of track annually is cost per mile. So I take that total, that $11,270, and then I divide that by the total mileage, which at this point is almost 19 or almost 20,000 as of this, which takes into account the Fuelie app. So this was as of my last fill up, was 19,505. And so the total cost per mile, taking those two into account, is 58 cents per mile. So every mile that I'm riding, it costs me roughly 58 cents over the lifetime of this bike. And I have tracked that kind of cost per mile number over the years, and I think originally it started at around 80 cents, and it's slowly going down because some of these costs, you know, I'm not going to pay for it again, like the bike. The bike itself was $3,300. That's a big chunk of change. In the grand scheme of things, obviously, it's the bike. That's what all the parts and all the registration is associated with. So that would make sense that the longer that you ride this thing out, the cheaper it's going to be, you know, on that per mile basis. Yes, it kind of stings a little bit to see that number and realize that this bike costs 3 times basically what you paid for it. Another thing to consider with this is that it's provided me 20,000 miles of smiles, 20,000 miles of fun, of reliable transportation, of entertainment, of just fun, you know, even just the fun in putting the parts on the bike, you know, that's enjoyable. It's one of those things that I like to do. So, you know, it's give and take. So there you have it. That's a $11,270 bike. If there's any specifics that I might have overlooked, I'll try to address those in comments, you know, if you have any questions on that. I'll also link the spreadsheet that I have, so that way if you want to take a look, you can kind of see exactly what parts, what manufacturers, things like that that I've used. With that, thank you so much for taking a look. Ask me if you have any specific questions. Bye. I'm tired. Oh my god. It don't look it, but it is humid today. I know. People on the East Coast are like, you don't know what humid is. I know. I don't. And I'm a baby. Which is why I live in Southern California. See ya.